two great sides. It's the Continental Cup final. Lucy Ward and Adam Somerton are your commentary team.
Thank you, Claire. Good evening, everyone. So the first silverware of the season is up for grabs, and we have a London derby in Nottingham. Chelsea and Arsenal, familiar foes. They are the very best of enemies. Both are chasing a potential domestic treble, and the Gunners still have a league chance too. But for now, at least, the Continental Cup demands both sides full attention. Arsenal, the record 5-time winners of this competition. Chelsea are featuring in their very first Continental Cup final. But what a season there, having just one defeat in all competitions, and that was on penalties at Reading in the Continental Cup group stage. A good turnout at the City grounds. Such an historic, such an iconic stadium. We'll now see the presentation party come out. The dignitaries today: Dawn Airy, who is the chair of Barclays FA Women's Super League and Championship, and Tracy Mortimer, well, who is the chief guest of the competition sponsors Continental. Lucy Ward is alongside me. As ever, this is set up to be a fantastic game.
Well, it is, because there's not much between these teams whatsoever this season. Chelsea are doing really, really well. Arsenal struggle with injuries a little bit, but this is going to be a top game.
Emma Hayes there, the Chelsea manager, has been saying how much she's been looking forward to being part of this at the City grounds. Such an admirer of the work of Brian Clough, inspiration for her. And as you can see there, is in jovial mood ahead of this final. Can she be the first Chelsea coach to win this competition? Of course, Joe Montemuro has already won it, with Arsenal looking for his third major honour in the space of as many seasons with the Gunners. The dignitaries here just beginning to meet the Arsenal players there. Katie McKay, the captain Jordan Nobbs, who's a 5-time winner of this competition, showing the dignitaries down the line. We'll now pause at the City ground for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthem.
Both these teams top their respective groups in this competition. Arsenal then beat Reading and Manchester City to reach the final. Chelsea overcame Aston Villa and Manchester United in the knockout rounds. And now there are just the two. Which of these London rivals will win the Continental Cup today? It's going to be fun finding out. Let's take a check on the team news. Arsenal come into this without several senior players due to injury, among them Leah Valti, Beth Mead, Jem Beattie and captain Kim Little. Recent arrival Caitlin Ford is making her Continental Cup debut today. Captain Jordan Nobbs has won this competition 5 times, all with Arsenal. Chelsea come here with an almost fully fit squad. Fran Kirby, their only absentee. It's the 11 that began last weekend's 3-3 draw with Manchester City. Scotland international Erin Cuthbert is the only Chelsea player to start every game in this season's Continental Cup competition. They've rotated heavily in, but it's full strength today from Emma Hayes. Lucy Ward's been looking at the tactical setups.
Yeah, and Arsenal always playing system where they enjoy loads of possession. They like to use the pace of movement and quick play to create like a controlled chaos in areas that will hurt Chelsea. Williamson has that extra insurance to protect the two centre-backs when Arsenal are out of shape. You look at Chelsea, they play with pace on the break, they usually get the ball up the pitch in the least amount of passes possible, and they've got a really potent attack force where Beth England's name is the first on the team sheet, even with the likes of the world-class Sam Kerr in the team.
Well, two Australian internationals involved today, one at either end of the pitch. You could have a big say in the outcome. Arsenal's Caitlin Ford scored on her debut last weekend and makes her debut in this competition today. Sam Kerr is the W League's all-time record scorer and won 3 consecutive Golden Boots playing in the United States as well. There is certainly no doubting her quality. Just about ready to go. You'll notice from the players' shirts, and you'll also note as well when we see the corner flags, there is quite a breeze around the City ground. There was a pitch inspection here as well. I'm told it passed with flying colours. There has been a fair bit of rain in Nottingham in recent days. The referee, Helen Conley, 34 years old and from Durham, has been refereeing for 16 years now. An experienced official has taken charge of an FA Cup final in the past. Helen Edwards and Magda Golber are the assistants. Stacey Pearson is the 4th official, and we are all set to go here. The first silverware of the season up for grabs. Chelsea seeking to win their first Continental Cup. Never before have they made the final. No club has won it more than Arsenal. 5 times the Gunners have lifted this trophy, but who will prevail today? Arsenal against Chelsea, arguably the WSL's biggest rivalry. It's certainly a fixture that always grabs the attention. And let's hope, Lucy, that they can put on a show in Nottingham today.
Yeah, and I always think there's a little bit of an edge to Arsenal-Chelsea games as well, particularly this season. Arsenal battered them last season, and they haven't beaten them since, so they've got to... They're used to this Conti Cup final, they're used to being winners of this final. Chelsea, this is a first for them. Keenly contested, I think the phrase is.
The involvement here for the captain, Eriksson. Now it's Millie Bright who's been named in the She Believes Cup squad there. Well, straight to that, the England players involved today. Sam Kerr chasing this, Beth England waiting in the middle. And it's a comfortable take for Zinsberg.
It's quite a nice first touch for Zinsberger, but that shows what Chelsea are all about, getting the ball forward. It's a great little touch. Sam Kerr down that left-hand side.
That's a run out of play by the Norwegian international Maren Mjelde, who scored the winner in the semi-final for Chelsea against Manchester United. Eriksson. It goes to Berger from G. "23 clubs took part in this year's tournament, the most there's ever been, but now we are down to 2. Chelsea against Arsenal in Nottingham." Anderson. Misjudged for a moment by Evans, but covered quickly, and look for Miedemar, the clearance by Eriksson.
First look, Adam, at the way the teams are pressing. It looks like both are just going for a little bit of a cautious start, a mid-block, and not really pressing as high as they usually do.
This is Ford. To put over for Van der Donk, and Arsenal have the first corner kick of the game.
It's a big day for Caitlin Ford, because Beth Mead is a massive miss for Arsenal. She slots straight in there, got lots of experience, a top quality player, but it's a big ask on the second game at the club.
So less than 3 minutes gone here, and Arsenal with the first opportunity from a set piece. Quinn is one of those forward, Williamson was there as well, and it's G who thumps it clear for Chelsea. Yeah, early stages of this game will be really significant when you consider how Chelsea came flying at Arsenal, completely overawed them in January's league meeting. In fact, the Blues were 3-0 up, Lucy, inside 20 minutes, and there will be scars from that, won't there, for Arsenal?
Yeah, it is, because you lose a bit of face, don't you, when you're beaten that well. I think Arsenal come into this just to make sure that they don't concede that space in behind early like they did, and concede the chances that game against Chelsea. But to be fair to Chelsea, they were really on top. They were on fire, high intensity, moving the ball quickly, pressing Arsenal high. Arsenal like to play out from the back. They were pressing them high.
Mielda. Nobbs wins it back for Arsenal. It's a good intensity about the Gunners, in particular in the early stages here. Ford, Nobbs, Miedemar hadn't quite anticipated that.
Well, Jordan Nobbs thought that Miedemar was going to make that run in behind to the left, and she really needed it threading through to her feet, because she did have a little bit of space there. But you're right, Adam, I think Arsenal started off quick. I'm sure they've read before this game that Chelsea are favourites, I think mostly due to the injury problems that Arsenal have had, but this team are going to give it a good go.
G looking for the runner here that is England's, but the cover provided by the Irish captain McCabe. I just wonder as well here, Lucy, when we talk about this great rivalry between these two London clubs, how Arsenal will be maybe out to prove a bit of a point today. They've lost their last 4 against Chelsea. They were rather humiliated at home in the last meeting between these two sides. That surely comes into this, doesn't it?
Well, it does, because these are top-class players, Adam. They don't like losing, never mind to their rivals, and so convincingly as well. So a little bit wounded coming into this final, but I think they've started off well. And Chelsea will have been well aware of that as well. They'll have been, in terms of their game plan, prepared for what Arsenal bring to them in the opening minutes of the game.
She says, Emma Hayes, this is Arsenal's trophy. And she's right when she says that it's the one that they've dominated and won the most. Talked about it being a bit of unfinished business, that Chelsea not just have never won this competition, but before today had never been to a final of it. It's incredible, really, as Millie Bright plays it long, all the way through it goes to Zinsberg.
And interesting, she talked about as well, Emma Hayes, that they managed the latter stages of this competition better than they have done, and that's the reason why they're in the final. And I think that she's been a lot more consistent, in my point of view, with her team selection in recent seasons. She hasn't. She's changed it quite a lot, and it does disrupt the rhythm of the team. Regardless of whether you've got good players or not, they build relationships with each other on the pitch and play well. And I think that's what Chelsea have got, built up a real head of steam this season.
Foul there was on Caitlin Ford. The referee, in fairness to her, Helen Conley, had just waited to see whether Arsenal gained any advantage there, but when they didn't, pulled it back. The two Australians involved here, Sam Kerr and Caitlin Ford, who I just mentioned there, just one of many fascinating subplots about this match.
So you look all over the pitch and there's little stories. I think I look at Jordan Nobbs. She's playing left side by the look of it, with Leah Williamson and Rod sitting.
That's a great ball, and it's Wrighton to make it 1-0. Fantastic block. Well, it's a goal-saving block, that, from Schneiderbeck.
It's a brilliant run from Wrighton, but two centre-halves look like they're both ball-watching. But Schneiderbeck, you have to say, her recovery in terms of blocking was excellent.
Wrighton, it was her first significant involvement in the game, found beautifully by the pass. Here's Ingle. Again, the advantage played by the referee, who seems keen to let this flow. Cuthbert, who started every League Cup game this season. Wrighton. Now we see Chelsea really come to life, come to the fore. It's Anderson to G. Back it goes to Anderson again. And Mielda's at the back post, and it was knocked down towards Beth England, who's made it 1-0 to Chelsea. Her first chance, and Beth England takes it emphatically for Emma Hayes' side. A player who's having the season of her life, and now has scored in a cup final.
If you had to put a bet on the first goal scorer in this game, you would have put Beth England down. I mean, it's really well worked by Chelsea. They get bodies forward, bodies beyond the ball. An excellent movement. Anderson It's a really searching cross here, isn't it? But as it comes here to Mielda, how good does she do? Arsenal try to block it. Beth England was the first to it. A clever bit of play. On the left-hand side, a searching cross. It's a difficult one to deal with, but that all comes from Mielda. Beth England is always in the right place, isn't she? Terrific start for Chelsea in terms of the goals. Arsenal have done all right, but a tick finish by her.
It's her 6th goal in this season's Continental Cup. It's her 19th in all competitions. Coach Emma Hayes says that she's England's best number 9, that she should start at the She Believes Cup. And well, that's given Phil Neville some more food for thought as he prepares to decide who will lead the line for England.
I have to say, Adam, in terms of Beth England's reaction to the arrival of Sam Kerr has made her a better player. I think she's much better since she's had that. You know, everybody was talking about Sam Kerr coming. Is she going to take Beth England's place? But Beth England has been driving this team in terms of the forward line, and I think she's up to game. She's responded to the arrival of Sam Kerr by playing even better, and that is the mark of a really, really good player. And in terms of England are going to benefit from that, aren't they?
I found it really interesting reading an interview with Emma Hayes before this game. She talked about Beth England, and she said that they, in earlier stages of her career with Chelsea, they had to have some really difficult conversations when things weren't going quite so well for Beth England, and also that she had to earn Emma Hayes' trust, and that she's gone on to do that.
Yeah, and she did it right. I mean, she went out on loan. You know, it's a big club to come to for Beth England. She was scoring goals at Doncaster Bells. She went out on loan to Liverpool, and she was outstanding there, and came back. You know, she's earned her place, and like I say, she's the spearhead of this Chelsea team, and fair play to her, she's done extremely well.
And it's Caitlin Ford who's been brought down.
And Arsenal did start off better in the opening minutes, didn't they, in terms of moving the ball quickly. It's difficult to deal with an early goal against, particularly as you start the game better. But Arsenal have the quality to respond.
In it goes from Rort. And then Eriksson with the header. And it's knocked down here to Leah Williamson. Now, was she brought down? Well, the referee had a good view of that and straight away shook her head. Arsenal pressure, though, for Chelsea to contend with. McCabe with the chance to cross, and in it goes as well. It's a fantastic ball, and kept out by Berger. Well, the header was by Louise Quinn, and Berger, right on the line, has managed to claw that away.
What a save that was. What a save from Berger. Textbook header from Quinn, and we just watched this now. Everybody stopped. When Williamson went down, everybody stopped, and I think it's that kick there from G, trying to get the ball from in between Leah Williamson's legs, but everybody stopped. Everybody thought it was a penalty. Terrific cross from McCabe. Textbook header. I mean, what a save that is. That's some power from Louise Quinn.
Arsenal's reaction to going a goal down has been good. Roard now to Nobbs. Here's Jill Roard again. European Championship winner, a World Cup finalist, who's found Schneiderbeck. Of course, made that fantastic block before Chelsea took the lead. Evans. Ford looking to combine with Evans down this right-hand side, and it's off Guro Wrighton for a corner to Arsenal. I would think Joe Montemurro will be happy with what he's seen in terms of a reaction from the Gunners.
Yeah, the only thing that the Gunners have done wrong is concede that goal, and it's affected the game in terms of the scoreline, but it hasn't affected the way that Arsenal are playing and passing the ball about, and trust what they do, trust the game plan, and I'm sure that's what he makes sure the players are aware of.
Miedemar, as you'd expect, is in there. Quinn has already shown a threat up from the back. Williamson, and it came through to Quinn, and it came to Miedemar, but now with Jill Roard. Evans. Caitlin Ford has switched sides here for a moment. Good ball, Nobbs! Another good save by Berger. And what a few minutes the Chelsea goalkeeper has had. Twice now has kept Arsenal out.
I do think Jordan Nobbs is really back to her best. This is what she's good at, going up and beyond the centre forwards, making those runs that people don't want to make, and Caitlin Ford did well. Great touch, he goes beyond, but another fantastic save from Berger.
Arsenal dominating possession since going a goal down.
Well, Chelsea are really, sorry Adam, Chelsea are really struggling to defend the ball that's getting into the box right from the start of the game.
Schneiderbeck. Williamson. Ford to Miedemar, and the block was by Maren Mjelde. I have to say, Lucy, that having watched a lot of both of these sides, this game is being played tactically more in the way that you would expect Arsenal to play than the previous fixture was, when they were so heavily beaten at Meadow Park, when tactically everything seemed to go wrong for them.
Yeah, Joe Montemurro accepted the blame for that. He played in a diamond, and the players weren't used to it. It's difficult to play against a top-level team in a way that you're not used to, and it's not the usual game plan. But this is more like an Arsenal moving the ball quickly, getting the ball forwards, causing, I talked about it before the game, causing chaos for Chelsea in certain areas of the pitch, and Chelsea just not picking up as the ball comes into the box, and it's a problem.
Bright. G. Now Guro right. Anderson. G. Good movement from Wrighton again. Kerr and England in the middle, and Cuthbert was at the back post. It came to Cuthbert. Arsenal deal with the danger, but for how long? G. Wide it comes now for Erin Cuthbert. Left the ball behind for a moment. Ingle floats in a lovely ball, and Kerr went for it, but so did Guro Wright, and they rather got in each other's way there.
Yeah, that was all lined up for Sam Kerr. Great movement from her. It just looked so incisive. Chelsea, great ball into the box, but right in there, I don't know whether there was a shout from Sam Kerr. I think that it was just expected that Sam Kerr would head it. But they do look like they'll score when they go forward, Chelsea, don't they?
No chances being taken there by Maren Mjelde. Rords. Williamson. Sophie Ingle winning it back for Chelsea, but Arsenal again showing good intensity to win the ball back quickly. Williamson.
To be fair, Arsenal have not let that early goal from Chelsea affect any sort of confidence. Got a little kick there, didn't she, Beth England, as she's trying to defend. Just a little knock on the ankle.
Just a reminder, by the way, that we must get a winner here today. Extra time and penalties are both possibilities. We got both of those in Sheffield last season. McCabe for Arsenal, looking for the run of Van der Donk, but rather telegraphed the pass, and Millie Bright was there for Chelsea. Schneiderbeck covering here. Well, a very different test for these two sides. Last weekend, Arsenal beat the second-tier side, Lewis 2-0 in the FA Cup at Meadow Park. Caitlin Ford with a goal on her debut. And Chelsea involved in a top of the table thriller at Manchester City, which finished 3-3. Evans. Touch forward here to Miedemar. Ford. Williamson. McCabe helps it down the line here to Jordan Nobbs. Inside it goes back to McCabe, and Nobbs continued her run into the box. Roard. Evans. Van der Donk. Miedemar looking to go on the outside, and well, it had to be dealt with again by Berger. Third significant save the Chelsea keepers had to make.
I think she went for goal then, didn't she? Adam Miedemar likes to come a little bit deeper, particularly when Kim Little's not playing, but that's a good effort. From a left foot, a real right to score from there. Berger just did enough.
He's been shortlisted for the WSL's Player of the Month award, and Katrin Berger. I think we've seen 3 reasons why so far this evening. Having a fine game, the goalkeeper who made that penalty save, crucial penalty save against Manchester City last weekend. We're in the 20th minute here, Lucy, at the City Ground. What have you made of what we've seen so far?
Well, probably what we expected. I think Arsenal are playing at a higher intensity. Chelsea have got Berger to thank for Arsenal not getting themselves on the score sheet, but when it's needed, Chelsea have scored that goal. And the 2 or 3 times that they've been near Arsenal's goal, they do look like they're going to score, so a really open game. A close game. It's difficult at this level in a cup final to put a piece of paper between these two teams. I don't think it's the last goal of the game, put it that way.
We have some midweek FA Cup action coming up on BT Sport. First from Fratton Park, Portsmouth of League One against the 13-time winners of the Cup, Arsenal. That's on Monday at 7:15. And then Wayne Rooney's reunion with Manchester United at Pride Park, Derby against United, Thursday at 7 on BT Sport 1. Miedemar. Loads of space out wide here for Evans, who's got Caitlin Ford in the middle. Nobbs in the middle. Couldn't pick the pass there.
That's the benefit of having the likes of Lisa Evans right back. She always has that space in front and always an option and an outlet.
Launched up towards Sam Kerr, but met by the head of Louise Quinn. Chelsea really deep here, aren't they?
Trying to defend deep so they don't allow that space in behind for the likes of Nobbs and Miedemar to run into.
Now they can make their way up the pitch. Led here by the South Korean international So Yeon-ji. Sophie Ingle, captain of Wales. Flag up on this near side, and it will be an Arsenal free kick for offside. I have to say, the Gunners' consistency in this competition really is quite something. They've reached 8 of the 9 Continental Cup finals. Chelsea playing in their first today, and it's Emma Hayes' side who lead through Beth England's goal. Their 19th of the season in all competitions. Chance for Chelsea to attack with G. First time by Kerr to England. Ingle. Movement down the right by Mjelde. Cuthbert. Mjelde swings in the cross, but it's really comfortable for Manuela Zinsberger.
Well, Arsenal are trying to deny that the space in behind. It just opens up the space in front, and it just gave Chelsea a little bit of time in the middle. G, the last thing you need to do is give her any sort of time or space on the ball. However, she has started the game quite quietly. I think every time we watch Chelsea as well, Adam, we talk about Sophie Ingle, and she doesn't stand out until you watch her individually, and the thing she does really well is in terms of her positioning, and she stops the passing lines into dangerous areas. It stops Arsenal getting the ball into Miedemar's feet, stops those dangerous balls forward, and just understands her position as a sitting midfielder really well. It's a late one from McCabe.
Sophie Ingle, the player that Lucy was talking about there, coach at international level with Wales, Jane Ludlow, was saying the other day she thinks she's been one of the best players in the WSL this season. Here's Caitlin Ford, of course new to English football. Daniela van der Donk, who looked to return it to Ford, and it was cleared by G.
I think sometimes if you're not a goal scorer, or not a goalkeeper that makes loads of saves, it's difficult to stand out as a sitting midfielder, but one of the reasons that Chelsea work the way that they do, they're moving the ball from back to front really quickly, quick on the transition, and she's part of that as well, protecting those centre halves.
Broad will have a go, and it's just watched wide by Berger. Ford involved in the build-up, and she wasn't far away there, Jill Roord.
That's a chance, Adam. And in terms of Arsenal getting themselves in front of goal, well, there was that little space in that near post. One thing Arsenal haven't done is let their heads go down. They know that they're well in this game in terms of the possession and the sort of play that they're having.
The only Arsenal player to start every game in this competition this season, Jill Roord. Looking to win her first trophy with the Gunners, one of several arrivals from Bayern last summer. Right into Kerr. Well won back by Schneiderbeck, who's having a good game so far at centre half for Arsenal. Knocked down by Miedema, but G was there for Chelsea. Ingle. Kerr. Down the line here is Cuthbert. And Cuthbert with the cross, and Beth England was there, but it's just a little bit too high for her really to be able to direct that towards goal.
Another unsung hero down of the Chelsea team this year. Cuthbert down this right hand side. Her and Mielda worked really well together. Had to generate the power and wasn't really in a position to do so, Beth England.
She was saying just recently, Erin Cuthbert, that maybe the World Cup and an injury that several injuries that she's been having this season, just perhaps taken their toll on her a little bit. But there's no doubt that she's getting back to somewhere near her best. And as I said, she's the only Chelsea player to start every game in this competition. Voted Scotland's Player of the Year. Miedema. Again, another nice touch by Ford, played in by Evans, and we're seeing glimpses, aren't we, as to why Arsenal were so keen to bring in the Aussie international forward.
Yeah, and just the final ball at the moment for Arsenal. The build-up play is attractive, the 1 and 2 touch stuff. Just that final ball, I mean, Sophie Ingle makes it look like a bad ball just simply because of where she puts herself, but doing all the bit up to the edge of the box, Arsenal really, really well.
Plenty of movement in the box. Trying to keep it going. Out it goes again to Jill Roord. And Quinn had stayed up from the back, and Ingle got it clear. Daniela van der Donk. Ford. McCabe. And Quinn's stayed up, but the header well wide.
She's a real threat at set pieces, Louise Quinn. The fact that she's taller than everybody else on the pitch. You've got to be able to use that, and there's a couple of times now where she's got her head on stuff too far away there to really trouble Berger, but it's an option for Arsenal, and the one that they use in set pieces.
I love the story that I heard about Louise Quinn just recently. She said that when she was 7 years old, her teacher back in Ireland, Miss Slattery was her name, sent a note home. It said how good she was at football, how she should really persevere with it. She said, "You're as good as the boys are." She said it always stuck with her, and it's really inspired her as she's gone on and, of course, reached these levels. Here's Nobbs. Good old Miss Slattery. Miedemar has lost possession here to Cuthbert. There's a good run here from Sam Kern. It's Quinn who came across.
Done well there. Quinn just delaying the attack from Chelsea, and a little bit exposed at the back, her and Schneiderbeck, in terms of the pace. Neither are as quick as the forwards for Chelsea, and in terms of defending, did really well there. Quinn allowed Arsenal back into the shape.
Mjelde. G. Ingle. Eriksson to Andersson. Swedish pair so consistent at the back for Chelsea. And now it's Wrighton in the final third. And England! Just the sort of chance that she thrives upon normally.
Tell you what, in terms of England's quality, that's a sitter for her. Again, excellent play down the left-hand side, and the quality of the ball into the box from Wrighton is always there. And she was beaten once, she's Zinsberger, and if England could have got that on target. What a cross that is, it's just invited a header into the back of the net. I think the Chelsea fans saw the net ripple, and so did Emma Hayes.
A let off for Arsenal. Ford. Van der Donk. That by Andersson. Van der Donk. Nobbs. Couldn't quite squeeze the pass through to Miedemar. McCabe. Van der Donk. Arsenal moving the ball well here. Van der Donk again. Williamson. The width provided as usual here by Evans. Caitlin Ford pointed where she wanted it in the box, but Andersson read what was coming.
I like what I've seen. Ford so far settled really well into this Arsenal team. Just likes to be involved in play all the time, linking up play. The movement's good.
We have an Edinburgh derby coming up in the Ladbrokes Premiership that Tuesday at 7. Hibs against Hearts on BT Sport 1. And another game from Scotland as well on Wednesday. Livingston against the champion Celtic. Well, Chelsea have Ann-Katrin Berger to thank for the fact that Arsenal aren't on terms. It's Chelsea with the lead, Lucy, but Arsenal, I would think, will be pretty happy with the way that they played so far.
Yeah, they just need to keep going, and the quality of that final ball, whether it be a cross or a shot, it's just not been there for Arsenal, whereas where we see Chelsea get into Arsenal's penalty area, there's a genuine feeling that they're going to score or at least get a shot on target.
Well, Cuthbert is out of the game here, off the pitch, out of shot. As Arsenal go on, Evans with the chance to cross, but has overhit that, and it's headed behind for a corner by Mara Mjelde. Erin Cuthbert, as you can see, has just come back onto the pitch now, as Arsenal take this corner short. Van der Donk's ball, it came off Eriksson. Still appealing the decision she didn't get. Cuthbert, but hopefully is fit enough to come back on. Nobbs, Rhodes, Evans wants it out wide and gets it. Movement here provided by Ford. Can Arsenal pick a pass here? Chelsea defending well. Nobbs. Berger. What a fist to that. Good battle between McCabe and Cuthbert down this near side. There's a bit of edge to it as well.
Yeah, I was about to say that there's not much love lost between these two teams as it is, and particularly between those two players down this left-hand side of Arsenal's.
Forts. Evans. Crossing towards Nobbs, and it was Eriksson who got it clear. They're given away cheaply. And a chance perhaps here for Arsenal, but again it's a misplaced ball, that time from Daniela van der Donk.
It's disappointed. And from van der Donk, she ended up with an opportunity to put a cross in that she didn't really expect, and last few times the ball's gone into the box from Arsenal, it's not reached a player or an area where an Arsenal player can attack it.
Both of these sides chasing a domestic treble, 3 points between them in the title race. Arsenal host Tottenham in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Chelsea go to Everton. And of course, Arsenal have European ambitions as well this season in the last 8 of the Champions League, where they'll face the French side PSG. Ford just overhits the ball for Miedemar, but you just get the impression that it is going to click eventually for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get Miedemar in front of goal with the right sort of ball, then she'll score for them. That's what she's done for Arsenal since she arrived at the club, but it's just not clicked into place yet. Caitlin Ford busying about. Jordan Nobbs as well. You would expect at some point that pass will happen.
You really have to admire Chelsea's consistency, though. The only team unbeaten in the WSL this season. In fact, their last league defeat was way back on the 27th of January 2019. Astonishing what Emma Hayes' side are doing this season.
I talked about earlier the consistency of team selection, players getting better. You know, she's got great recruitment. You're only as good as your players that you recruit, and Chelsea have the capacity to sign top quality players. Sam Kerr obviously an example of that.
G. Get the pass right for England, and Louise Quinn headed clear for Arsenal. This touch was off Anderson. It's been a brilliant signing, Jonna Anderson. One of those players, a bit like Eriksson, fellow Swede in the defence, you just know you're going to get a certain level from her every time she plays, whether it's a 7 or an 8 or a 9 out of 10, she'll always be around that.
You just missed 2 nutmegs in a row there, Adam. But yeah, you're right about Anderson. Steady, back force really, really strong. You look at Mjelde as well down this right-hand side. She preferred to play either centre back, which she does for Norway, or centre midfielder where she's involved, but she's happy to play it right back for this team.
Williamson, tripped by Ward on G.
I think what's ominous as far as Arsenal are concerned is that G's not really had as much as the ball as she usually does. She will at some point in this game. There's your 2 nutmegs when you were talking away and not paying any attention. Speechless.
Who needs enemies, eh?
Who said I was your friend?
England couldn't quite get there. Cuthbert did. Williamson. Arsenal looking to play their way out here, and Schneiderbeck panicked a little bit there. goes from Ingle to Berg. Mjelde. Inside by Nobbs, but got on the right side of Miedema. There's only really been that one half chance, and the half chance is probably over-egging the pudding a little bit, that there was for Miedema. They've restricted her well, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of you want to get her in front of goal, and she's great movement for that, but you have to have the ball in the right areas, and I just don't think that final ball's been good enough from Arsenal.
England. G. Wrighton. Kerr's chasing this. Schneiderbeck came across. Good save, Zinsberg. G. And it came off her own player. Kerr got in the way.
It's a really important save from Zinsberg. I don't think she knew much about it. And hit her foot. But Sam Kerr is always a danger on the shoulders behind the centre halves. I know exactly where she is. To be fair to Arsenal, the defensive shape is very good.
Miedema. And Fords with a chance to hit it! And into the side netting it went. Great opportunity. Chelsea were so stretched there.
A big chance. Caitlin Ford, and she's played well. Lapse in concentration there from Ingle. It was a terrific ball. Miedema, she maybe could have taken it on an extra touch. Chose to shoot, trying to get it in the near post of Berger, but it has to be a bit of an effort there. It's a good save. Sam Kerr wrapped her foot around Schneiderbeck and then ended up with the ball against her. Terrific save. Like I say, it was good positioning from the goalkeeper.
A big save at a big moment in the match, because if Chelsea doubled their lead just 5 minutes before half-time, it really would have knocked Arsenal's confidence badly. Mjelde.
So when Arsenal gets set now, Adam, the defensive shape is pretty good, and Chelsea sometimes struggling to get through that middle. But as soon as they get into the final third, the forwards are really devastating.
Bright. Slipped by Schneiderbeck, but couldn't make the most of that. Beth England, as Cuthbert finds G. G motors on. England holding off Evans. And it's gone behind, and it will be Chelsea's ball. That was a good old tussle between England and Evans.
She did well there, Evans. She's strong as an ox. Beth England gets her body in the way. Really, really difficult to get yourself in between there. She kept at it.
Well, already a goal down. Arsenal, it's so important that they are switched on here for this set piece as we start to approach half-time. Nottingham. So, corner that's brought Eriksson up from the back, and it's dealt with by Arsenal, but it's going to be thumped straight back in and wide from Ingle, who scored that screamer at Meadow Park against the Gunners, and maybe thought she could repeat the feat.
She's waiting, isn't she, on the edge? Sam Kerr tries to get the head away. Beth England there, always trying to get on the end of his shot there, a whisker away from getting her foot onto Sophie Ingle's shot.
McCabe. Joe Montemurro, the Arsenal head coach, had said before this that it was a great opportunity, this game, for Arsenal to right some of the wrongs, as he put it, of recent performances that they put in against Chelsea. But whilst yes, they are losing this, Arsenal, I think he really has plenty of cause for encouragement ahead of his half-time team talk. Could have a bit more. Or couldn't pick out Miedema. Cuthbert plays it forward. Now Sam Kerr, who's got Beth Mead to her left, and that's who she looks for, and that's who she finds, and it's blocked by Quinn. Well, the Chelsea front two there were looking very threatening.
2-2. Sam Kerr, completely unselfish, sees that her striking partner's in a better position. But again, Arsenal throw bodies in the way.
Now it's Arsenal on the attack, end-to-end stuff at the City ground. Nobbs. It was a straight race between Evans and Wright, and it was the Chelsea player who won it. Walked down here by Sam Kerr, who immediately has a look round. Couldn't find either.
The game's become stretched in this last part of the first half, hasn't it? Like you say, Adam, it's been end-to-end. It's got end-to-end within 2 or 3 passes for each team.
Williamson, it's one over the top for Miedemar to chase. And Millie Bright got there in the nick of time for Chelsea.
Great defending, Millie Bright. She knows that she's got her hands full. She won't always be active, Miedemar, but she comes to life with that sort of ball.
Foul there on Beth England's free kick to Chelsea.
Not content with playing up front, she'll do a bit for the team in terms of picking the ball up deep or defending. Great attitude towards work. It makes a difference. It makes a difference when you've got a player like that who's prepared to work as hard as she does.
Great attitude to work even outside of football. She's doing a law degree as well at the moment, Beth England. She was saying recently that she's been losing the will to live with it all. Assignment, deadlines pending, etc. Must be hard though, mustn't it, combining that with playing football full time. Goes for a throw in, and we move into the minimum of 60 seconds added time at the end of this first half.
I enjoyed this half, Adam. I think both teams have shown quality. Chelsea just edged it so far as the fact that they were more ruthless in front of goal, but Arsenal are definitely not out of it.
Williamson's ball into the box for Nobbs, and it was Millie Bright who again got it clear for Chelsea.
I talk about it a lot, but in terms of how dangerous Jordan Nobbs is, those sorts of runs up and beyond the striker, difficult to pick up. Who picks her up?
McCabe to Miedemar. Nobbs couldn't get it under control. Just sense the frustration from some of the Arsenal players that still it's not quite clicking for them in that final third.
It's difficult to play those sort of little passes as well when you've got that many Chelsea bodies around. They have to be absolutely inch perfect. Arsenal not happy with the award of that free kick, and I think I thought she was going to give Williamson a yellow card then, but she wasn't happy. In fact, the whole of the team wasn't happy, saying that that's a foul on Sam Kerr. I think she's had worse.
A pretty even first half at the City ground, but it's Chelsea who will go in at the break. A goal to the good, thanks to Beth England's 19th of the season. Caitlin Ford making her debut in this competition and has been one of the more impressive players for Arsenal, and went close as well with a decent chance. And Katrin Berger with 3 very good saves in this first half for Chelsea. Coming up, the half-time thoughts of Claire Rafferty and Rachel Brown finish with Claire. But at the break in Nottingham, it's Arsenal 0, Chelsea 1.
In the Champions League stage, at this stage in the season, and has implemented the build and the depth and the quality of internationals on the bench.
You can see there Arsenal tight in a huddle. They're going to rely on communication and teamwork and maybe the skill of that woman, Vivianne Miedema, up front. Can she slot home a goal to equalise, or indeed could she try and put Arsenal ahead in this? Now, if you love your women's football, there's really good action from Australia actually at Club Melbourne City that Joe Montemurro used to coach. We've got 2 Australians on the pitch here, and tomorrow morning, very early doors, Melbourne City take on Brisbane Roar. Right, let's hand you back to Lucy and Adam Somerton.
Thank you, Claire. Now this is the 8th game for each of these sides in this season's Continental Cup. Never before have so many clubs taken part in this competition, but now we're down to 2, 45 minutes ahead, possibly more if extra time or even penalties are required. But it's Chelsea who are seeking to win this competition for the first time in their history. They have a narrow advantage over Arsenal. They've won it more than anybody else, seeking to a record-extending 6th win in the Continental Cup. And they've given away an early free kick here, but Miedema is a player, Lucy Ward, who Arsenal need to see more from in this second half. Yeah,
I mean, when Arsenal don't have the ball, she doesn't work or look to work as hard as say Beth England, but definitely need her goal-scoring exploits, don't they?
Floated in dangerously, but it was taken well by Zinsberg. There was a good trajectory on that free kick.
She's got a good, great left foot. And in terms of Miedema, she does come short quite a lot. The lack of Kim Little in the team, and she is so effective in this team, Kim Little, and she knits things together. So Miedema always has to come for the ball, but I think Joe Montemurro might have said to her at half-time, stay up and need to get Van der Donk more on the ball in the little pockets. And then Miedema is leading the line rather than coming searching for the ball.
Ford, early cross in towards Van der Donk. It was just in front of her, but what a good ball that was by Ford, searching cross.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what Van der Donk thought then, but she didn't go for it. She didn't fully commit herself. I don't think she really thought the ball was as good as that, but she only needed a little bit of room, Caitlin Ford. It just needed attacking, didn't it? Great effort.
Probably been the standout player so far for Arsenal in this game, the Australian Ford. Nobbs, Miedema. The play stopped after the ball came off the referee, Alan Conley. Certainly showed a willingness to try and let the game flow, I thought, in that first half, the referee.
Yeah, you could question the penalty decision. You only get that one look at it, but in terms we haven't really talked about her, which means that she's been in the background of the game, which is the most important thing for a referee.
Yeah, certainly the view at half-time seemed to be from Rachel and Claire that was a penalty in that first half, the challenge on Williamson by G. A big moment in the game.
Clumsy by G, and typical sort of forward players challenge.
Ford, Nobbs, and Miedema thought about hitting it early and then decided against it, brings McCabe into the game. Again, it's that final ball that lets Arsenal down so many times, Lucy. They've got into positions like that and not been able to make the most of them.
Well, firstly, as Jordan Nobbs just tapped the ball back to Miedema, she should have struck, but I think Jordan Nobbs was going back after it, but trying to fiddle it through on that left-hand side, and it just needs a strike on goal. It could hit anybody.
Miedema looking for her 30th goal of the season tonight. 29 in 26 appearances. It is some strike rate, but she's been, by her standards, pretty quiet so far this evening. Daniela Van der Donk. Caitlin Ford helps it on, and Evans won't get there before Berger. But she is the sort of player, Miedema, Lucy. We saw it in that recent 3-2 win away at Liverpool. She was pretty quiet that night too, and scored twice.
Well, how many times have we watched her, Adam, over the last couple of seasons where you think she's not really done much, and then she'll pop up with 2 or 3 goals, and that's her value to this Arsenal team. But when they're 1-0 down, you definitely need her to pop up, don't you?
Here she is now, Miedema, support provided by Caitlin Ford. Nasty Collision there with Anderson.
I like Caitlin Ford in terms of a commitment to working hard. She just ran into her, let the ball go through. It's a sore one.
Yeah, ran straight into Anderson. Yeah, she has looked impressive, hasn't she, Caitlin Ford? So many people, of course, in this country only really seeing her maybe for the first time tonight. The youngest Australian to appear at a World Cup in 2011 when she was just 16 years old, 25 now. Caitlin Ford. And the early impressions have been good, I have to say. Misjudged by Kerr. Brought clear by Schneiderbeck. Williamson. Volley pass by Nobbs, McCabe. Forge. Rords. Van der Donk. Evans is wide. They've got the shout from Rord. They just weren't on the same wavelength, the two of them.
Yeah, again, we're talking about that final ball in the box. Chelsea defending in numbers. But anything good that Arsenal do going forward is involving Caitlin Ford.
Been used to seeing Beth Meads in the position in which Ford plays today down that right-hand side, as Arsenal feel they have cause for complaint here. Beth Mead, one of those out injured today. So many significant players unavailable to Arsenal this evening, the likes of Kim Little, and Valti is another one.
The referee just gave that throw in the wrong way. Leah Williamson just getting a little bit frustrated. I do think you lose a bit of Leah Williamson's game when you play her in sitting midfield rather than centre half. She's a really accomplished centre half.
That's one of the knock-on effects of Valti not being available though, isn't it?
Yeah, so that change affects your back four and it affects the midfield. Two sections of your team are so important. And she's such a good player, Leah Williamson. I've said it for years. She's so accomplished, a great character as well, full of confidence.
Not a good ball by Quinn. Kerr. Anderson comes back here for Eriksson. G. They have been largely content, Chelsea, to let Arsenal have possession, but we all know what a threat they can be when they do get forward, just like this. Ingle, Wrighton. That wouldn't dip enough for Guro Wrighton, but again, it shows you, even though Chelsea aren't seeing a great deal of the ball, when they do, they're such a threat.
Yeah, they're effective, aren't they, when they get the ball around the box. I think England at the centre of quite a lot of things, but Wrighton gets herself on the edge of the area, just a little bit too high there, but again, such an effective player as far as Chelsea are concerned. Usually find her on the left-hand side, but the central there.
With Claire Rafferty saying before the game how she's perhaps a bit of an unsung hero this season, Guro Wrighton for Chelsea. I have to agree, I think she's been excellent in her first season in England.
Yeah, I think they sorted the transfer out before the World Cup, didn't they? And she was excellent in the World Cup as well. Went under the radar a little.
Miedema, chance maybe to hit it. Decided not to pull the trigger. Roared. Williamson went in with G. It's bubbling about in there. It was Bright who was strong on the edge of the box, and then it came off Miedema.
Such a difficult defender to get past, Millie Bright. I think they've been a little bit shy to shoot, Arsenal, and what happens when you do start to shoot from the edge of the area, it makes the opposition defend differently because they don't know whether you're going to pass it or shoot it. And Chelsea are quite happy to have everything in front of them now.
Right, movement in front of her from Kerr, and she would have been found but for Schneiderbeck. It's a really important intervention again from Schneiderbeck, who's made a couple of those.
Yeah, she's done all right today, Schneiderbeck. Seems quite comfortable in that centre-half position with Quinn.
Kerr. G called for it, and G got it. Ball back was on. I mentioned about Arsenal being a bit shot shy tonight, which is very unusual for them. They have scored, you know, in their last 16 games in all competitions, and in 33 of the last 34, so they nearly always score, but not yet this evening.
Yeah, they've got themselves in some good positions and then preferred to try to sort of fiddle the ball through rather than have a shot, and it would make Chelsea defend different in the fact that they'd have to come out and block, and that's when you can pass those little balls through. But at the moment, Chelsea know what they're going to get when Arsenal get on the edge of the area.
It's been a compelling watch so far, this Continental Cup final. Ruled. Really Bright comes out of defence. Yeah, between them, these two sides have had 21 different goal scorers in this competition this season, 12 for Arsenal alone. Here's England. Went for that near post. Zinsberger read what was coming.
There's always a thorn in the side of any defender. Beth England quite happy to run into those channels. Not quite her strongest foot, that left foot, but she's scored goals with both this season. Not happy with that as soon as he left her foot.
England looking to latch onto this, but Zinsberger played sweeper keeper.
Great decision. Great decision from Zinsberger. As soon as she saw that ball, it's quite a straight ball. But England look favourite in terms of the two centre halves. Nobody wants to run into a goalkeeper full steam. Decisive goalkeeping there.
Goalkeeper who was described last summer as world class by her coach Joe Montemuro when she was brought in from Bayern. Had one or two ups and downs in her first season in England, I think it would be fair to say, Zinsberger, but she's been good tonight so far.
She has. I mean, on the whole, I think she's been a top quality signing, but a couple of questions, particularly in that Chelsea game where they scored quite easily past her a couple of times.
England's done really well here, and plenty of options in the middle too. Couldn't pick out any of them, and again the goalkeeper decisive, Zinsberger.
Doesn't have to make a difference for a back four when you've got a keeper that makes decisions like that, comes for the ball and gets the ball.
Sorry, Van Veenendaal in goal, wasn't it, for Arsenal in the final of this competition last season when they drew 0-0 with Manchester City at Bramall Lane, lost on penalties in the end. What will be their fate today? Trailing by a goal to nil. Goal scored inside the first 10 minutes by Beth England. Quinn. The elder won the header, but it drops here for McCabe. Misjudged by Jordan Nobbs.
Yeah, mistake there, but in terms of her decision making and getting forward and trying to make those runs, she really is top quality. I think she's probably back to her best in terms of before her injury. It's a difficult injury to come back from. It always takes a few weeks or months to get back into the rhythm of being match fit.
Nobbs, Van der Donk, surely was being held there.
It's one of those fouls that Eriksson felt like she had to make because Van der Donk had completely acted it and turned on the edge of the area. Right decision by the referee. It's a terrific ball in from Jordan Nobbs, wasn't it? What a Cruyff turn. She'd absolutely done Eriksson, but she just knew maybe she just needed to stop her there, and hopefully for Chelsea's sake they're not punished by this free kick, but a big opportunity for Arsenal.
So the captain goes into the referee's book, and Arsenal have a chance from a free kick, which has certainly within shooting distance as we start to approach the hour mark in Nottingham. Quite the conflab going on here between Miedema, McCabe and Van der Donk. Who's going to take this, you wonder? Well, it's going to be either Miedema or McCabe. Shifted to the Irish international, and behind it goes for a corner kick.
They just gave enough room to the Chelsea defenders, just allowing them, that knock there, allowing them to get out, and fair play to Gian Wrighton. He really closed down that quickly. She's got a strike on her, and it's a great block.
Flicked on, put out of play by Kerr. Evans gets it back. Ward. She did well to get anything there because it was really fired at her initially. Evans. England's back defending. Ward. Quinn. McCabe. It's Miedema who's peeled out wide here. Van der Donk. Williamson. Miedema. Miedema's ball in, and it was cleared by a combination of Brighton and Ingle. And now Chelsea will look to mount a counter-attack, but it was stopped by Williamson. Nobbs, McCabe, three in the box, Miedema's one of them! Oh, seemed to be caught in two minds there.
I don't even think that was on target. Adams sort of snatched at that left foot shot.
It's got away from Miedema, but she quickly retrieved it. Roord, Miedema strikes one and is only just wide. She says that should be a corner. Claiming a deflection, but the referee's given a goal kick.
What a strike that was from Miedema. She worked really hard around the box then to create an opening for herself. I don't think it did take a touch, and it just swung away from the goalkeeper. She's livened up a bit now.
3 goals in 6 Continental Cup appearances this season for Miedema. Got the winner in the 2018 final, you might remember, a 1-0 victory that was. And she scored more goals on her own than 5 WSL clubs this season. Ward momentarily won that back for the Gunners. The referee's played an advantage here. The Elders put under pressure though, and Arsenal have forced the issue well. Miedema, ball getting into the box, and Miedema lost it at the most inopportune moment, really.
It's a real battle between Miedema and Millie Bright. She tried something a little bit different there, Miedema, to cut and tie straight away onto her right foot, but G just tidied up behind.
There are individual battles going on all over the pitch in this Continental Cup final. Was there anything in this here between Nobbs and Cuthbert?
It's just a real battle between the pair of them. She just stood on it there. You can see where Jordan Nobbs landed on Cuthbert. I don't really think Jordan Nobbs is the type of player to leave a foot in.
Another collision involving Cuthbert, this time with McCabe.
She's a real live wire, Cuthbert. I really like her as a player. Great competitor to have on your team.
It goes from Quinn to Zinsberger. These two clubs so familiar to each other, not just from their WSL battles. This is the 3rd time they've met in a domestic cup final in 4 years. 1 win apiece. Best of 3. Here's Force. Stands up a good cross, and Miedema was waiting for it, misjudged by Cuthbert, drops for Nobbs. Miedemar. Well, she's certainly highly involved in the game right now, Miedemar.
Nobody wants to shoot, Adam. Arsenal just trying to score that perfect goal, moving the ball around the area. A terrific run by McCabe. Ford tries to get the ball in, and it's just easy enough to defend against. I thought Jordan Nobbs was going to have a go then.
Cuthbert with the ball forward, flicked on by Kerr. Brought down by Wright. Kerr's gone for the return. She'll make it! And Zinsberger's there, and Kerr couldn't squeeze it home. Goal kick given.
Fantastic turn of pace from Sam Kerr then. Initially, a really good header, and then she makes that option. She just couldn't get out. I think she thought that she was going to get taken out by the goalkeeper, but it's good work by Sam Kerr. Just needed to let fly there.
Good run down the left-hand side here by Nobbs, but it had been read by Millie Bright, who I have to say has been excellent at the back today for Chelsea. She nearly always is. Nobbs. Right, sliding in again. Committed performance from the Chelsea centre-half, Bright. Williams. Switch of play here over to the Scotland international Lisa Evans. Now for Ireland's Louise Quinn. Schneiderbeck, the Austrian international. Ward holding off the attentions of G.
Rachel Brown-Finnis talked about it in the break in terms of the options on the bench. When Emma Hayes turns round, she sees lots of options that will change the game for Chelsea. I'm not so sure Joe Montemurro feels the same. His injury list is that large.
Good ball here for Nobbs, who had a look up. Wasn't far off being spot on that ball for McCabe.
McCabe just needed to get any sort of touch that would deviate the ball away from the direction that Jordan Nobbs is. I mean, it's straight up ball, but it just needed something on it. Berger again keeps her eye on it. Safe hands.
Side flag is up. Referee not happy where Williamson was about to take that from. Quinn. McCabe. Rhodes. Evans. Jordan Nobbs can strike this. Well, she'd taken up a fantastic position on the edge of the box. Just didn't quite get her bearings right.
That's exactly what Arsenal need. The ball into the box, into the final third. One touch and then shoot. Always going wide.
There is that Arsenal bench, Lucy, that you were just talking about. There were 3 teenagers among the 5 subs picked today. 2 17-year-olds and a 16-year-old, Ruby Mace, who's yet to make their debut. Contrast that with Chelsea. They've got 7 seasoned pros on there, haven't they?
And it's no disrespect to the youngsters who are very good young players, but Joe Montemurro will have to just tweak his first 11. Obviously he has Maya, but more of a defending player. I think if he's going to do something different, it may be a formation tweak or rather than a personnel change.
England gets to this. Wrighton's continued her run. England's competing for that with Quinn and did well.
She just doesn't give the centre-halves a rest, does she, Beth England? You know, quite a lot of centre-forwards that have given that up and just let it go out for a goal kick, but she's that determined to score for a team. The ball bounces, she just gets her body in front, and it just... Quinn has to get the ball out for a corner.
Shade over 20 minutes of normal time to go at the City ground. Chelsea, as it stands, heading towards their first ever Continental Cup. Into that from Zinsberger. Williamson's clearance picked up by England. Great turn by England. Schneiderbeck with the header clear. Ward needs some support, and it's been provided here by Caitlin Ford. Arsenal streaming forward here. They just lost the momentum, regained it here. Nobbs, Ford, Evans further wide. Plenty in the box, Ford on the edge of it. On Miedemar! I'm not even sure that was a cross by Ford, but it turned into one for Miedemar, and it only just went wide.
We needed 2 or 3 attempts for someone from Arsenal to have a shot. In the end, Caitlin Ford was meaning to, like you say, Adam. She's been terrific, Berger, hasn't she?
It's yet another fantastic stop. She made 3 in the first half. McCabe with the corner. Berger's there again, taking it away from Daniela van der Donk.
I see Caitlin Ford puts that ball in just enough there. What a fantastic save that is.
Nearest fingertips, wasn't it?
Well, she sort of caught it with a hand on the half volley. If she hadn't got her timing right, it would have bounced over.
Miedemar denied. Arsenal frustrated. Down, but certainly not out though, the Gunners.
I have to say, as good as Chelsea have been in terms of in front of goal, and Beth England has, defensively, Millie Bright has been brilliant, and I have to say, Berger there has been probably Chelsea's best player.
Well, the Chelsea players are using this opportunity to come across for a word with their head coach, Emma Hayes, and for some water as well. Carly Telford, by the way, is on the bench for Chelsea if required, an England international.
Right, that's just administering ice to Berger's ankle. I don't know whether she has a previous problem or it's something that's happened within this game.
Well, she's a fantastic story in herself, isn't she? And Catherine Berger, the personal adversity that she's come back from, was diagnosed with thyroid cancer back in November 2017. It didn't seem very long at all, and she was back playing again. Looking to be part of a Continental Cup winning side here, the former Birmingham player. Just while we have this break in play, let's tell you about some FA Cup action that we have coming up on BT Sports from Fratton Park on Monday. It is Portsmouth of League One up against the 13-time winners of the FA Cup, Arsenal. That's from 7:15 on Monday on One. What about this as well? Wayne Rooney's reunion with Manchester United against Derby. We've also got action from the Scottish top flight, an Edinburgh Derby on Tuesday at 7 at Easter Road. They're always pretty feisty. And then the champions and league leaders Celtic, they head to Livingston on Wednesday. That from 7:15 on One. Berger okay for now. Play resumes, and it's going to be a Chelsea corner. There's some activity down on the Chelsea bench, it's Maria Torsdottir, and led to believe is going to be coming on shortly. Corner for Arsenal to defend, in towards that near post, headed clear by Miedemar. Wright, who strikes one. A snapshot of the England centre-back.
Sat up really nicely, didn't it? For Millie Bright on the edge of the area, and one thing she can do is strike a football really, really well. Great touch. Did enough there, Miedemar.
Williamson. Jordan Nobbs. Miedemar chasing this, and Burgess come a long way. Just guided it out. And we're going to see that change now from Emma Hayes. Torsdottir, Norwegian international, who came on in the second half in the 3-3 draw at Manchester City, really just to shore things up. And I think she'll have a similar set of responsibilities today as the South Korean international G is replaced.
Yeah, sacrificing a little bit of creativity in G for that solidity Torsdottir will bring to the team. Did similar against Manchester City last week.
Reliable player, Torsdottir, has missed a lot of this season through injury. Suffered a fractured leg at the end of October, returned on the 12th of February. McCabe was caught there by Cuthbert right in front of the referee.
Mistimed it. It's a nasty one there for McCabe. Cuthbert always full throttle in terms of a commitment to any sort of challenge. McCabe was always favourite for it, and it wasn't high, particularly up McCabe's leg, but it was late, wasn't it? Late lunge.
Yellow card for the Scotland's Player of the Year. Bright getting a toe to that. Sam Kerr calling for a pass from Wrighton. Didn't see a look for England instead. England. Anderson. Chelsea trophyless right now, didn't win any of the major prizes last season. Looking to get back to the level that saw them win a domestic League and Cup double in 2018. There's a treble on offer for them this season, potentially. This would be the first leg of it, but there's a problem here for Louise Quinn.
She's done okay tonight, Louise Quinn. She defended well with Schneiderbeck a couple of times, but oh, she just stood on, wasn't she, by Torsdottir. The referee didn't see that.
Wrighton blocked the ball forward and then slashed out of play by Leah Williamson. Be 1-0 for Chelsea here, but this is a Continental Cup final that's been far from cagey. And Arsenal have had their chances. Will they get more though? Does Chelsea look to see this out? Sliced up and under from Eriksson. Torsdottir got a head to that, but it's lofted forward by Roord to Nobbs. McCabe makes the run beyond her. Jordan Nobbs for Arsenal. Viviane Miedema, Daniela van der Donk, and Nobbs and Miedema. The cross is deflected and Miedema's there again. And over it comes for Ford. McCabe. Ford. Having a run here at Anderson. He's judged it though, and behind it goes for a Chelsea goal kick.
Chelsea have defended really well when under pressure from Arsenal. Miedema nearly got herself in front of goal again. Bodies are thrown in the way by Chelsea. Back four have done it. Caitlin Ford's trying to get herself around Anderson, but I think she just caught Eriksson. It's good play by Miedema. She's come alive in this second half. Just fantastic defending from Chelsea. And bodies on the line.
Foul here on Sam Kerr as we move into the final 10 minutes of normal time, and the referee wants a word with the defender McKay. It's going to be a booking here for the Irish international.
She's fully committed for everything she does. McCabe, one of Arsenal's better players this season. She actually probably had no idea that Sam Kerr was going to be quick enough to get the ball in front and take that yellow card.
Ireland's youngest ever captain when she was first given the role in 2017. McCabe. Cuthbert now for Chelsea. Ingle plays it forward for Chelsea. Loose from Wrighton. Roord through the legs of Cuthbert. Nobbs. Miedema, who again has decided to peel out wide here. Back inside to Nobbs. Quinn. Van der Donk. Wood went for the return and got it, and the cross over towards Miedema has brought it down! Oh, brilliant save again! She's been absolutely inspired today, Berger.
Miedema made the decision not to take that cross first time. She knew that she'd have the space and brought it down on her chest, and it's terrific centre forward play. But Berger, that's brilliant. Such brave goalkeeping, throws herself in front. She knows that she can close down that angle, but Miedema, touch just came off a little bit left. She throws her body at it. I think it hit her right in her stomach, which is probably why. Winded. He expected Miedema to score, didn't he? As probably everybody in the stadium did, apart from Berger.
Real difficulty here, the Chelsea goalkeeper. Well, we're not used, are we, to seeing Viviane Miedema denied a player who in February is looking for her 30th goal of the season today, but she's come up against a goalkeeper who's put in a world-class performance so far. That's 5 really big saves we've seen from her now.
If Chelsea keep a clean sheet, then she has been more valuable to this Chelsea team than Beth England, the goal scorer, and that's been the most important thing. But there's 7 minutes left, but so far so good for Berger.
And Joe Montenoro just having a word in the ear there of Leah Williamson. Here's another look at this save from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, she's obviously winded, isn't she? It hit her right in the stomach. She's taken a few minutes to get herself back to normal. I don't think ice on anything will help. It's just getting her breath back. Giving everything for the team.
I'm sure one of our guests, a fine goalkeeper herself in her time, Rachel Brown-Finnis, will have plenty to say about this performance that we've seen from Ann-Katrin Berger this evening. She is the reason, quite simply, that Chelsea still lead this Continental Cup final. 6 minutes of normal time to go. Arsenal with the corner. Williamson got ahead to it, and Williamson's there again, and finally they've done it! Arsenal on terms in the Continental Cup final. They've been knocking on the door, and it was Williamson who finally kicked it off its hinges, all square in the City ground.
She's the first to react, wasn't she, Leah Williamson? Lots of bodies around. She got the initial header, and then she was the first to react as the ball came off. I think it was Eriksson. Not even Berger could save that. Look what that means to Leah Williamson. I think in the end it ricocheted off Eriksson's leg, but he won't care.
A player who's supported Arsenal all her life. Used to have season tickets to go and watch the men. But even the most ardent of Chelsea supporter would be hard-pressed to say Arsenal don't deserve to be on terms here. Evans, Miedemar, great turn. Caitlin Ford now. Ford strike, and it came off right. And Chelsea here are under serious pressure, and Arsenal are very much in the ascendancy.
Taking advantage of the swinging momentum to Arsenal, putting Chelsea under pressure in their own penalty area. This is the time Arsenal can get that winner. Just trying to take advantage of a Chelsea wobble.
I'm no expert lip reader, but the message there from Millie Bright to her teammates was wake up. It was clear as day. 4 minutes to go, plus whatever we get added on. Could have extra time. McCabe with the cross. Berger stays put this time. Another ball into the box. Oh, and it's been missed by Berger. Oh, goodness me. Oh, Berger is struggling. She's clearly not recovered yet from that shot from Miedemar.
It's no coincidence that Arsenal scored when she was come back off the pitch after being injured. She got a nudge then, but obviously still feeling her ribs. But Louise Quinn, such a small distance away from that rebound into the back of the net for Arsenal. You see the nudge then on Berger was right in her ribs. She was feeling that injury from before, from Miedemar's shot.
Well, Chelsea were so close to securing their first ever Continental Cup. Arsenal have found an equaliser. They nearly always score. Said earlier that even before today they'd scored in 33 of their last 34 games. They've now scored in 17 in a row. Will we get a winner in normal time here? Now Chelsea suddenly look nervy at the back, and Nobbs takes this on. 5 in and around the box here. Nobbs with the cross. Berger's come for it, and that time she gathers it. England now for Chelsea. It's breathless this at the City grounds. Brilliant final. We could have another half an hour of it yet. England with the cross. Never going to trouble Zinsberger. A proper heavyweight tussle this is, between two of the best sides, not just in England but in Europe.
It's great to watch. Both teams will try and win it as well. They won't settle for going to extra time, particularly Arsenal now that the momentum's just shifted with them after that goal.
Arsenal looking to win this competition for a 6th time. Certainly in terms of experience of winning the Continental Cup, their squad is much better equipped than Chelsea's. A club who've never won it. Evans. board. Daniela van der Donk. Evans. Board with the chance to cross. And it came off Anderson, and it's behind for a corner. I think she took that full in the face there.
Caitlin Ford's been at the heart of what Arsenal do going forward. Sore on a cold night.
Quite right to give her a moment or two to recover from that. That was a sore one. Final seconds of normal time. Arsenal seeking to win this without the aid of extra time. Into the area it goes. Miedemar with the up and under. And Berger, as we move into added time, gathers for Chelsea and looks to start a counter-attack. 5 minutes minimum of added on at the City ground.
Arsenal definitely want to try and finish it before extra time. They know that Chelsea have the options on the bench to just go that extra gear going forward.
Right, got it clear for Chelsea, helped down the line by Cuthbert but out of play. Battle for the first piece of domestic silverware of the season has been a gripping one. A fixture, this London derby, that always grabs the attention, always heightens the senses, and this has been no different. What I would say has been different, Lucy, is the way that Arsenal have approached this, perhaps to the way that they have done in recent games against Chelsea, when the Blues have really had their number. 4 wins in a row against the Gunners.
I think Arsenal knew that they had to go for it in terms of playing at a high tempo, high up the pitch.
Cuthbert looking for Kirsch. Schneiderbeck has come across. And Kerrs to well here, gets back to her feet. England's a mark at the back post. She's waiting for it. She's got it! England's won it for Chelsea. Surely now, they've won their first ever Continental Cup. And it's Beth England with her 20th goal of the season, nipping in at that back post, who's broken Arsenal's hearts at the City ground.
And this was all about Sam Kerr. Such a willing runner. Schneiderbeck has done well tonight, but just couldn't cope with the pace and power of Kerr. She didn't go down appealing for a free kick. She stood up. She had a look. Terrific play by Mielda, though. You've got to look at that. Fantastic play down that right hand side. That touch inside there was brilliant. I don't think she's offside, is she? And she's not in front of the ball anyway, so Mielda did so well. Just sheer determination from Kerr, and then Mielda, and then she's always there, isn't she? That touch, brilliant. Mielda. Beth England stayed in the right place. You see her hang back through the legs of the goalkeeper. Brilliant.
The merest of touches, but the biggest goals for Chelsea.
She's really had a top season, hasn't she, Beth England? She's gone up a level, Adam.
Change made here. Spence on, Kerr off. What a telling contribution as well in the build-up to that by Kerr. The ball in by Mielda.
You can't underestimate a forward that does that sort of thing. Doesn't stop running and is doing anything to get their team the winner, if it is the winner.
Still time yet though for Arsenal to hit back. It had to be so late. Ford's ball in. and Bright with the header clear, and Evans almost took that on.
That's in mouth of the Chelsea fans that have made the journey up here to Nottingham Forest.
It's a testament to just how clinical Chelsea have become this season, to think that they've afforded so much possession to Arsenal, who've created so many more chances in this game. But in Beth England, they have a striker who surely is approaching the peak of her powers right now.
Absolutely agree with you, Adam. Striker prepared to get on the end of balls to shoot. I think Arsenal have done everything right up to the final third. I have to say though that this victory, if it does end up a victory, has been built on the work of Berger in goal for Chelsea. I think without her, Arsenal would have surely scored more than one goal. But Beth England, what a performance.
Evans, clearance by England's. Williamson. Brought down here by England. Spence is waiting in the middle, but she's no intention other than to just take it to the corner. Let's get Lucy's player of the match.
I think I've just talked about her then. I mean, she scored the goals, England, but I have to say, Berger, without Berger, I don't think Chelsea win this game. She's been in the wars, hasn't she? She's obviously injured her ribs from that shot from Miedemar, but what a performance from her.
The Continental Cup is Chelsea's. Hayes history makers. England the hero. Winners of this competition for the first time. A trophy that's always eluded them, but not anymore. A club that's now won every single domestic honour. What a performance from Berger. I counted at least 5 top saves to make sure that Hayes' side have won this. They will hope that it's the first leg of a possible domestic treble this season. In a great position to win the league in the FA Cup quarter-finals, but right now, especially perhaps for her, who won it in added time, it's about enjoying this moment. Their first Continental Cup final ends in victory. Once again, they had Arsenal's number. Chelsea's 5th win in a row against the Gunners, who, you have to say, Lucy Ward, deserve credit themselves for putting in a tremendous performance in what was quite the spectacle today at the City Ground.
Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic final. Arsenal really played their part in that. They went for Chelsea, they created the chances, but I just think the way Chelsea dealt with Arsenal, Millie Bright was brilliant. The defensive shape that they had, Arsenal just couldn't get through them. And then they've got the goal scorer in Beth England, haven't they? The person up there that will put those chances away. Not as many chances as Arsenal got, but I think he'll be pleased with his team. Disappointed with that late loss, but I think in terms of the injuries that he's got, they did the best that they could.
Yeah, disappointment 2 seasons running in Continental Cup finals for Joe Montemuro and Arsenal, but it is sheer joy here for Chelsea, and the Hayes' side have won this by 2 goals to 1. Lucy, it was, again, for the neutral, I have to say, was so enjoyable. Those Chelsea fans can smile and be happy now, but there was a period, certainly after that Arsenal equaliser, where it only looked like it was going one way.
Yeah, the momentum was with Arsenal. They had the chances, they were putting Chelsea under pressure. Chelsea were wobbling, but in the end they stood firm, had a little bit of luck around the goal, but they had Berger in goal as well, and that has made the difference tonight for Chelsea.
We've mentioned the injuries for Arsenal. They would never have wished to have used it as any excuse for defeat anyway, but I think you have to look at it almost in a different way and say, for a side that was missing several senior players, 4 or 5 who would have undoubtedly started had they been available, for them to perform as well as they did. And I'm sure Emma Hayes and Chelsea would say the same thing, give them the same credit. I think that was a brilliant performance from Arsenal.
Yeah, they would be disappointed, Adam, Arsenal, that they couldn't score the goals that beat this Chelsea team. They give everything, every single one of the players, but you say we talk about the injuries, they just didn't have that change on the bench that perhaps they might have needed when they were really on top. Missing Kim Little, she's a massive miss in terms of scoring goals, creating goals, but take nothing away from this Chelsea team.
Well, it's their day. Let's get some reaction then with Natalie.
Yeah, with Beth, and some congratulations. Beth, you dropped to your knees at the end on that final whistle. It shows just what it means to you. This is a trophy that has eluded this club, but you'll be finally able to get your hands on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, there was no way I was going to extra time. My legs didn't have it in me. But we like to make it hard for ourselves, and a lot of credit to the girls, and pulled off some unbelievable saves. And the resilience of the girls to grind it out, keep pushing, because we weren't going extra time. And to get that final goal, I am over the moon, honestly.
Nothing left in the tank, but that must have been an anxious final few minutes when they equalised.
It was, yeah. I think we were a bit anxious because we knew, I thought Arsenal were great today. They kept pushing and they had a lot of momentum. But look, we found a way, and that's all that matters, and we're bringing that trophy home to Chelsea.
Sam, what a couple of months it's been for you to come over here to adapt to the WSL, to make your first final, get a first trophy. What is it like to feel and share this moment with your new teammates?
Yeah, it's been amazing. The girls have welcomed me in, and that's what I came here for, is to help them win trophies, and they've been on an amazing run, and I've been happy that I've just been able to slide in and help the team. What a great team. It was a team performance to get here and a team performance tonight, so we're happy with this one.
Was there pressure on this team coming into this final?
Oh, look, I think there's always going to be pressure, but the most pressure we put is on ourselves. You know, we wanted to win this so badly, but it was just about tonight. We just tried to treat it as a normal game, and yeah, like Beth said, Arsenal were pretty good tonight, but we showed resilience and we got the win.
It was early first goal. How important was that to perhaps settle any nerves that you may have had?
Yeah, definitely early, because we knew, obviously after beating Arsenal twice, that they were going to come for blood and they were going to give us something different to cope with, and they certainly gave us a challenge. So to get that early goal, considering how much pressure we were under in that first half, I think really important.
Will Emma let you celebrate tonight?
She better.
We'll let you go and celebrate with the fans. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Emma Hayes and her team in heaven. And the shots we've seen so far of Emma, she looks completely shell-shocked. Beth England there accepting the champagne. What a terrific performance from her. Goals at the beginning and the end of the match, sealing the victory for Chelsea. Her first after 7.5 minutes, her second and decisive winner after 91 minutes. But all round, as Sam Kerr said, a great team performance. They were so strong in defence, because it wasn't just the player of the match, Ann-Katrin Berger, in goal. It was defenders clearing it off the line. It was Millie Bright standing strong. There were so many of them who kept Chelsea not just in it, but gave them hope, Rachel.
Absolutely, Maren Mielda right at the very end, being able to get up the pitch and prove that decisive cross to Beth England. You know, she's played it right back, but got herself in that high position. All over the pitch, there were heroes for Chelsea.
Eriksson cleared off the line as well, Magda Eriksson, the captain, Claire.
Yeah, you know, they showed a real strength and as a unit and a team, and I think it showed. Pushed on to the end, they stuck to the game plan, and they didn't deter from it, and they also had that consistent belief that they, even after the Arsenal equalised, that they knew they had the ability to go on and push on, and I think that was a difference here today.
But the difference was the goalkeeper, wasn't it? Ann-Katrin Berger was sensational in goal, made save after save throughout the first half, deep into the second half, was heroic with her bravery at the near post. Commanded the box excellently well, just takes the pressure off your teammates when you know you've got someone as decisive and strong behind you.
And you could tell she was battling through the pain.
Yeah, she took, I think, one of the shots in the second half, hit her in the stomach or the hip, and it took her a while to get up. You know,
you have to be a bit crazy to be a goalkeeper, don't you?
Yeah, you do a little bit. I'd agree with that. I mean, why on earth would you try and get yourself in front of a moving missile?
You tell me.
In freezing conditions, but you do that and you love doing that, absolutely. And Ann-Katrin Berger today, I think, was very close to getting player of the match alongside Beth England.
I think I would have given it to Berger, to be fair, how brave she was.
And Adam mentioned this in commentary, but Emma Hayes had said beforehand she'd had to have serious conversations with Beth England, and my word, hasn't England responded. Right, let's go back to Natalie. Who have you got?
And many congratulations. Beth was just saying there was nothing left in the tank, and I think you're a prime example of going through the pain barrier and giving it everything you had. How does that feel?
It feels unbelievable. I think everyone did like a great shift, and I think this team performance was just incredible, and I just took a part of it, so I'm proud of my team.
This is, of course, not your first Continental Cup final, but a first win for all of you. How much emphasis was put on this competition this season?
Oh, I think every cup here in England, you can see the difference. They are not really... there's no difference between it, and I think it's unbelievable just to win that cup. And now I think obviously we are hungry now for more, and that was just a start from the beginning.
What is so special about this Chelsea team this season?
Oh, easy as that. We never give up. It doesn't matter how we start, how we finish. We want to win, and I think the mentality of the team is unbelievable. It's really, really special.
Well, you have the trophy. You're also the player of the match today. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
She looks really surprised by that. She's very, understated, Anne Katrinberger. She's had a terrific match, and well played to Arsenal. My word, what a final it was, Adam, and they more than played their part in that.
Absolutely, yeah, it was a fantastic performance from the Gunners. Much better, I should say, than some of their recent displays against Chelsea. That's 5 defeats in a row that they've suffered against Emma Hayes' side, but that was, for me, Lucy, the best performance in those games.
Yeah, there was an excellent performance. Arsenal knew that they had to do something special to try and win this game. Chelsea just too good for them in the end, but they had the opportunities. They'll rue some of the opportunities that they had, opportunities to shoot and score, but you've got to look at it. Look at the injuries you see there. Beth Mead, Kim Little, massive players to miss. Dan Carter as well to miss from your team in your first 11.
Jem Beattie, another player at the back who we didn't mention too much, who was unavailable today to Joe Montemuro, but Emma Hayes' resources much deeper. Only injury trouble they had coming into this was Fran Kirby, but that's just the luck of the draw, isn't it? Sometimes how it goes in football, but there's no disputing that this Chelsea side is capable of achieving some very special things. A club at all levels with a seemingly insatiable appetite and demand for success, something the women's team has bought into wholeheartedly under Emma Hayes, and they're really reaping the rewards of that now. Having ended last season trophyless, they now have silverware once again, Lucy.
Yeah, some really good performances tonight in terms of, the girls talked about it afterwards. Sam Kerr, Beth England talked about the resilience of the team. They were not going to be beat. They didn't want to go to extra time, and they did enough, and I think that's been the story of Chelsea this season. They were consistent performers, and they do enough to win, but they've got such an array of talent. They've been lucky with injuries. They haven't had to cope with the injuries that Arsenal have, but Emma Hayes has a big enough squad to cope with any injuries that she might have, but I think she's got a great balance now. She's got probably the best squad that she's ever had, and they're working really well. A great win for them tonight.
It was nice to see a moment ago Fran Kirby getting a medal there as well, working her way back from illness. I suspect that there could be much more silverware to come for Chelsea as the player of the match gets a very deserved medal there. Anne Katrinberger, the captain. Eriksson will lift the trophy in a moment. This particularly special to Chelsea, their first Continental Cup, and they're the third club to win it. They've completed the set. The waiting is over. History made in Nottingham. The 2020 Continental Cup winners are Chelsea. Emma Hayes' side win the first domestic silverware of the season, and there could be more to come for her side.
You see there everybody together as well, the staff in the background who all contribute to this team. Emma Hayes obviously wanted to include everybody in this because it really is a team effort, both on and off the pitch. These guys have done the club proud.
A great performance from Chelsea. They won it right at the death. A fantastic advert for women's football as well, that final. that Beth England can head to the She Believes Cup, having secured silverware with a brace for Chelsea, and they are the 2020 Continental Cup winners, Claire.
It was so exciting to watch that match, and real quality out there on the pitch, and we will have more reflections. We'll also be hopefully talking to Emma Hayes after the break, but also to say our live coverage of the Gallagher Premiership continues tomorrow with a West Country derby between informed Bath and Bristol. Both sides have won 3 games on the bounce and they're in playoff contention midway through the season. We're live from 2:30 on BT Sport 1 and Ultimate. But do rejoin us after the break. We'll be reflecting more on Beth England's 2 goals that have sealed victory for Chelsea, giving them their first ever Continental League Cup.